Top 10 DSAR tips for businesses. As data privacy laws continue to evolve, it's important for businesses to understand and comply with the latest regulations. For example, the General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, is a stringent EU data privacy law that went into effect in May of 2018. This regulation applies to all businesses that process the personal data of EU citizens, regardless of where they are located. Out of the many rights that GDPR ensures for the consumers, one is their right to access the data. This right allows consumers to know what data an organization has about them. Recital 63 of the GDPR states, a data subject should have the right of access to personal data which have been collected concerning him or her, and to exercise that right easily and at reasonable intervals, in order to be aware of, and verify, the lawfulness of the processing. Data Subject Access Requests, DSARs, are becoming more and more common as individuals become more aware of the data rights. Hence, if your business receives DSARs, it's important to be prepared. In this blog post, we will discuss the top 10 tips for handling DSARs from your business. Before we get you to these tips, let's have a look at the basics. What are Data Subject Access Requests, DSARs? As data privacy laws continue to evolve, DSAR requests are initiated from individuals for information about the personal data. This includes the data that is being held about them by the organization, how it is being used, and who it has been shared with. Benefits of complying with global data privacy law. There are several benefits to complying with global data privacy laws, such as GDPR. First and foremost, businesses that comply with these regulations can demonstrate their commitment to data protection and privacy. This can help build trust with customers and clients, which is essential for doing business in today's digital age. Additionally, complying with global data privacy laws can help businesses avoid costly fines and penalties. For example, under GDPR, businesses can be fined up to 4% of the global annual revenue or €20 million. Whichever is greater. Several other benefits to complying with global data privacy laws include: to protect your customers and the data, to avoid penalties from regulators, build customer trust, increased trust from customers and clients, enhanced reputation. All of these reasons are important for any business, but especially for those that operate globally. By complying with DSARs, you're protecting your customers not only in your home country, but also in other countries where you do business. This builds trust among your customers, which can lead to more sales and increased loyalty. Now that you understand the benefits of complying with DSARs, here are the top 10 tips for handling DSARs. One. Use a DSAR management tool. There are a number of DSAR management tools available that can help you manage DSARs more effectively. These tools can help you track all the data that has been released in response to DSARs. ensure compliance with GDPR regulations, and more. As data. 2. Respond quickly. The first thing you should do when you receive a DSAR is to respond quickly. The individual who made the request has a right to a timely response. And it's important to show that you are taking their request seriously. Three. Gather the information you need. Before you can respond to a DSAR, you need to gather all of the information you will need. This includes the specific information that was requested as well as any other relevant information. Four. Review your privacy policy and data retention policy. Your privacy policy is one of the most important documents when it comes to DSARs. Make sure you are familiar with what your policy says and that it accurately reflects your current practices. It's also important to review your data retention policies before responding to a DSAR. Make sure you are only releasing data that is required by law and that you are not retaining data longer than necessary. Five. Respond in writing. When responding to a DSAR, always respond in writing. This ensures that there is a paper trail and that there is no confusion about what was said or agreed to. Once you have gathered all the relevant information, it's time to draft a response to the individual who made the DSAR. This response should include a summary of the data requested and how it will be released. Six. Create a DSAR response team. When dealing with DSARs, it's important to have a designated response team. This team should be responsible for gathering information, drafting responses, and communicating with the individual who made the request. The individuals who handle DSARs should communicate with other departments in order to gather all of the required information. This includes departments such as IT, marketing, and human resources. Seven. Release the data in a format the requester can use. When releasing data in response to a DSAR, make sure to release it in a format that the requester can use. This might include providing electronic copies of the data or providing information in a specific format. Or the requester might have specified a format to follow. So the best practice would be to follow the requested format. Eight. Cooperate with any GDPR audits. If your business is subject to GDPR audits, you will need to cooperate fully with the auditor. This includes providing access to all relevant documentation and personnel. 9. Keep records of all DSARs received and responded to. It's important to keep records of all DSARs received and responded to. This will help you keep track of all the data that has been released in response to DSARs and ensure that you are complying with GDPR regulations. As data privacy laws. 10. Train your personnel on DSARs. It's important to train your personnel on DSARs so that they understand their responsibilities when responding to requests. This includes training on how to gather information, draft responses, and communicate with the requester. We hope these tips will help you handle DSAR requests from your business more efficiently. Frequently asked questions (FAQs) regarding DSARs. After surfing through different blogs and forums, we gathered some frequently asked questions related to DSARs. So, here are our responses to these questions. As data privacy laws continue, when should I respond to a DSAR? You should respond to a DSAR as soon as possible. In most cases, you will have 1 month to respond to the request. However, if the request is complex or if you need more time to gather information, you can contact the individual and ask for an extension. Responding quickly and efficiently is essential when dealing with DSARs. Customers often expect a quick response, so it's important to have a system in place that allows you to respond quickly. You also need to make sure that all requests and responses are being tracked. What happens if I don't respond to a DSAR? If you don't respond to a DSAR within the allotted time frame, you could face penalties from the Data Protection Authority, DPA. These penalties can include a hefty fine. How can I respond to a DSAR? There are several ways you can respond to a DSAR. You can provide the information in person, by mail, or electronically. You can also provide it in a format that is easy for the individual to use. What's included in a DSAR response? When it comes to DSARs, there are a few things that businesses need to be aware of. Firstly, you must include all the data that the requester is asking for in your response. Secondly, you must provide this data within the timeframe specified by the requester, usually 30 days. Finally, you must make sure that your response is compliant with GDPR regulations. If you're not sure how to respond to a DSAR or if you have any questions about what needs to be included in your response, contact a data protection specialist for guidance. They will be able to help ensure that your response is complete and compliant with GDPR regulations. What happens if I can't comply with a DSAR? If you're unable to comply with a DSAR, you must provide a justification for why you can't fulfill the request. You also need to inform the requester of their right to complain to the supervisory authority if they're not happy with your response. It's important to note that businesses can be fined up to €20 million or 4% of their global annual turnover for failing to comply with DSARs. So, it's crucial that you take steps to ensure that your response is compliant with GDPR regulations. Final words. The benefits of complying with global data privacy laws are clear. By following the tips listed above, you can ensure that your business is GDPR compliant and be able to handle DSARs quickly and efficiently. This will protect you from hefty fines, keep your customers satisfied, enhance your reputation, and help increase your brand equity in the long run. Isn't it a best bet to have? Yes, it surely is. Author's bio.